All right, appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, a great first day. Great to be out there for the first day. Not a lot that you can do, but it was good to see the fellas running around. Good to see, moved in the dorms. Appreciate the people here on campus allowing the guys to move into Selleck. Great to be out on those fields, and hopefully you guys had a chance to feel it and see it. It's like being in Augusta or being at one of these great golf courses. Really grateful to Troy Dannon for the investment. Courtney Gaucher and his team. I mean, they've re-graphicked the building. We continue to make investments in the best facilities in football, which is awesome. There's a lot of heat out there, so I think the guys were prepared for it. They didn't really have any trouble with the heat. They handed me an injury report for injuries, but I don't know that I can read this font without a pair of readers, so I'll do the best I can. But some guys, Roger Grady's out right now. We expect him back. Gabe Moore is limited. Preston Tamu has just been ill. Trent Euler has been limited. Demetrius Bell is out right now. Connor Keneally's out. Nolan Fennessy, Juju Marks, Jamarian Parker, Malcolm Simpson. Malcolm and Juju had surgeries that'll keep him out for a while coming from high school. And Tyson Terry, obviously, as you guys know, hurt his knee last year in football season and still went on to win the state championship, but he'll be out for indefinitely. And then Bodie Sukup with an injury for a little bit here now. So some guys out, but some guys back. Turner Corcoran still pretty limited, but making his way back. So, but yeah, great to be out there. We're excited to watch those guys practice. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Coach, third year in a row in the dorms. Are the coaches staying with the players, or the players kind of taking ownership of the dorm?
Yeah, no, the players asked if the coaches wouldn't stay in there. Now we have like some operations people, trainers. Gus Felder, his player development staff's in there, but I think they wanted they wanted to be their thing, their team. So as much as I love staying in a dorm, I was happy to oblige, and but no, that's what they wanted.
You got a lot of work in during the summer. What are you looking for the first few days when you start camp as a head coach? What are the
Yeah, it's a great question. We told the guys exactly what we want. It's a 6-day ramp-up acclimation period with a 7th day of rest. So, we want to obviously establish our standard of effort. We don't have a lot of time to coach effort. We have a good enough. One of the reasons why you don't have to coach is when you have a lot of depth, a lot of competition. If you don't want to play hard, then so be it. We want to reward the guys who know what they're doing. So assignment knowledge. So a lot of testing in the meetings. A lot of, hey, how much did you work? Over the summer, how well do you know what you're supposed to do? We want to keep them healthy. Most injuries happen. Most soft tissue injuries happen after the first week, beginning of the second week. So we're trying to ramp up and build up where we're not doing too much. And then we want to establish our practice standards, the way that we want to practice. Everything from like the gear that we wear to when we get into contact, how to make contact with guys, how to hold the ball security to pre-snap penalties. So all the things that we can control, we're trying to teach this week and do. And then finally, situational football. Dana had them out there. They were doing 2 minutes, today on offense. We know the games are going to come down in the Big Ten to the last minute of the game. And so we're at a point now where we can really focus on the situational FBI. So that's several things, but some are football and some are just related to the standards.
How do you feel like the 2-minute offense tightened up in the spring compared to last season? What do you want to see Dylan and the crew continue to work on?
Yeah, we have a long way to go in terms of where we're at in terms of the 2-minute offense. I think when you think about it, I believe when you come down to the end of the game, it really comes down to the integrity of your lines, your ability as an offensive line to protect, the ability of your defensive line to get to the quarterback. Sacks win games on both sides. And so while the X's and O's are great, while the execution is great, it's also going to come down to the physical strain of how great am I at the end of the game in terms of the physical nature. And I think that's something that we have to build throughout camp. They're much stronger. We're much more explosive. We're a significantly improved team in terms of our physical nature. But you have to, over the course of camp, you have to develop, the physical stamina and the competitive stamina to play great at the end of the game. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think we're really cleaned up in terms of our guys knowing what to do. We have guys who can win, but it's just going to take us, mastering it. And the mastering, hey, when do we get out of bounds? When do we not get out of bounds? You go back to, You go back to Ohio State, a lot of it's just poise. I mean, I think it was Ohio State, I can't remember, or maybe it was UCLA. Like, we lined up wrong, and it cost us 5 yards on 10-second runoff, and we only line up really one or two ways. So, just the poise of doing it every day, and getting to the point where you can't do it wrong. I think that's what we're trying to do. And it's the same thing on defense. Being able to cover, play zone coverages, play man pressure, but also rush forward and win. That's what wins games.
Hey, Matt, what's it like for you, or what's the advantage, if there is one for you, to have a full roster at the start of camp and not a camp roster, and also to have those extra players, maybe 15 or so players who, for much of this offseason, you thought might not be able to be with you this week?
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful that I believe it's Judge Wilkin that they grandfathered in the players. I mean, I don't know how I don't know how I could have told some of these guys, like, hey, you're not on the team. I mean, as I've told you guys, we had guys who said, hey, no matter what, I'm going to be here, and so they pay the same price. When you think about it, I mean, they're paying to go to school, to go out there and do all that stuff. So I'm glad they're out there, and a lot of them are good players, and they're developing into good players. So. And then it allows us to have, a lot of competition, allows us to have 3 groups, sometimes maybe 4 groups. We'll have some injuries as we go. There'll be attrition. And have guys that can step in and give reps, I think, is really important. So even in the NFL, they have smaller, they have a 90-man roster, but you can still practice against other teams. You still have preseason games, right? So to get to 105, I've done it before at Baylor, but just having a couple more guys here, I think, really helps our practice flow and allows for more competition.
What are your first impressions of punter Archie Wilson?
Yeah, he didn't really punt today. I saw him a little bit in the summer. I think what he can do is fantastic. I mean, he can roll right, he can roll left, he can really run. He's fast, and he can throw. Yeah, but I'm saying he can punt with both feet. Really fun guy. I'm really glad that he's here. But I mean, it's certainly not going to be a moving target. And I think the ability that he has to run the ball and throw the ball. I think we proved last year. I think we faked it a couple of times. We'd love to fake the ball. So, if you know that you don't know the aiming point, and you know that there's always a chance that he could throw the ball or run with it, I think that is going to put defenses really, really at a disadvantage. And he can kick all the different kicks. He can kick the banana ball. He can kick. So when you talk about our wind here at Memorial Stadium, the ability to spin the ball in different ways, and so those guys that grew up playing rugby and Australian rules football, like, kind of basically play catch with their feet too, So I mean, he's really special with the things he can do.
What's a banana?
It's a ball that just spins this way, and so it just kind of boomerangs on you like a banana. Like I said, bananas on you, and so it's just. We had Johnny Hecker at Carolina, who was one of the great punters of the last 25 or 30 years, and he could kick balls that were almost impossible to catch with no wind. And so you start getting across the 50, and you're kicking balls that guys are probably in a fair catch. There just adds another element of a lot of teams, when they face a left-footed punter, they'll try to have a left-footed guy in that week. Like in the NFL, they'll bring a guy in for practice squad that week because the ball spins differently. Well, Archie's going to kick the ball right-footed. He's going to kick the ball left-footed. So as a returner, you have both spins, and then he can do banana balls. And so the ball's going to go this way, the ball's going to spin this way. So it's just an added element. When you think about the close games we've had, 1 or 2 turnovers changes everything. So.
You said last week that this defensive line is going to be hell on the what gives you that confidence? What have you seen so far?
Well, I always have confidence in our players. And, the last thing our players need is for me to say they're not going to be good. They hear that enough. So I think they're going to be really good. And we've trained them. I know everybody wants us to, in the world, not you guys, but just in the world, it's always like, we'll go get this guy in the portal, get this big recruit. But, like, we want all those guys, don't get me wrong. But, like, they come in at 18, and we want them to play when they're, like, unless they're ready early, but 20, 21. And so I've just seen them lift. I've seen them run. I've seen them grow. And I think the only thing that's going to limit them is their own brains. I mean, now, depth-wise, I think we have a bunch of guys that are really talented guys. Sometimes I don't think they know that they're that good. I think I don't say that good. I don't think they know yet. Can I do it? At the end of the day, expectation sometimes is the one thing that can either buoy us or hold us back. And so, our D-line's heard a lot all year that, on how good they're going to be, how they replace Ty. It's hard to replace Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson, even in the NFL draft, he didn't get nearly enough credit for what he can do. He's going to be. I mean, you hear all the reports out of Philadelphia about him, like. I told everybody that. Like, every scout that came in, I said, I'm just telling you. And so I believe he'll be a great pro. So that's lofty to live up to, but we got guys who can do it. And so I have nothing but high expectations for our guys. I expect them to be really good. And when if they expect it to, then we'll get there.
It's still a young roster. I mean, in a lot of ways, you have a lot of guys that are true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores. How much of a jump can they make in 30 days over the next training camp to maybe put themselves in a greater position to play than they are right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the off season is really, really important, but there's nothing more important than practice. It's when you're a basketball player, you can go play. You can go play summer league. You can go play pickup every day against yourselves, right? Baseball players, they go play wood and bat league, all that stuff. Our guys, they lift, they run, they may throw a little 7-on-7, but this is really where you get good. And so, a lot of our young players are really, really talented. I mean, when you talk to Eckler, I think he'll talk about the length and speed that we have. We have a ton of guys who can run, fast, explosive. But there's a whole other component to football. There's a technical aspect, like your back pedal and your techniques, but then there's a tactical aspect of making decisions. And it's the only sport in the world where, a couple of years ago, the best players in the, best quarterbacks in the league were 44. Tom Brady was 45, 46. I mean, even in tennis, golf, when you get to that age, you're kind of done. And it's not as physical a sport, but there's such a cognitive, tactical aspect to seeing things and reacting. And so they need the reps. I think we have a lot of guys that, if called upon, will prove us right. And so I want to see them get out there. I also think we have a lot of competition. I think there's a lot of positions where everyone sort of said, I think they'll be the starters. But I think when you look at our secondary, you look at all the young players that we know can play. They're ready. They're hungry. I think the D-line, we have depth. Linebacker, we have several guys who can play. Same thing, receiver. So, this is a really important time. The spring was good, but this is a really important time for us.
Day one depth at running back. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Emmett's clearly the running back number one. Quentin, he pulled up a little bit lame today, I think. So we'll see. We'll see where he's at. As I've said, it's going to take 3-4 guys to get through the season, and so there's a lot of work to be done at that position. But Mekhi Nelson's as explosive a guy as I've been around. I mean, it's just putting the whole thing together for him in terms of he's another young player as we just talked about. Quentin, I've talked about him a lot, just putting it all together. Mosey coming over, Kenneth Williams, Connor Booth, as I mentioned, Jamarian's out, but there's a lot of guys that, we put Kenneth out there to return the opening kickoff, against Boston College. I mean, we think he's an explosive player, so, but what we need at running back in this offense is you can't just be just a runner. You got to be able to protect. You got to be able to catch the ball in the backfield, and so you got to be an all-around back. It's not hey, give me the old, runner, and then on third down, go to the third down back. We want to be multiple, so, there's a lot of tactical things that those guys have to improve upon. So it'll be a position that we're counting on EJ, and EJ's an excellent coach. We're counting on him to get those guys ready.
Coach, I know it's the first day of camp, but Heinrich Harburg, I thought he looked pretty good with the hands out there. I mean, how much can that pure athleticism that he has provide options for you guys in the tight end room?
Yeah, I think Heinrich's, as I said, he's one of the best athletes you'll ever see in terms of, height, weight, speed. The challenge is the thought has never really been, hey, can he handle the catching, the getting open, all that stuff. It's really been more just making the transition from a non-contact position to making contact and blocking people and moving people, and he's worked really hard at it. So that's a really deep room. It was great to see Mac Markway out there today. Great to see Carter out there today. So, obviously we're working Carter back in a smart way, kept him out of the special teams period, but because, just to give him a little break. But there'll be Luke's. Linda Meyer's an excellent football player. Ingerson, we think he's got an unbelievable future. So there's a lot of guys competing. But Heinrich brings some unique qualities to the table, and we'll try to take advantage of his strengths while at the same time also developing that run blocking. And I know he's 100% bought in on it, so he'll do a good job.
I don't know that much about Mark Way. What kind of picture is that? What's his strengths?
Well, he's a big, explosive, powerful man. Most importantly, he can move the line of scrimmage. He's got great hands. He can get open. He's running over 21 miles an hour. At 200, whatever he is, 260 pounds, 250. I don't know what they list him at, but he's a big man. So I think he's another guy coming off a knee injury, a second knee injury, and so we're always trying to be careful of those guys early on, but. At the end of practice, he walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, 365 days." I know how grateful he was to be out there after everything that, we went through last year. So, but he's got a ton of talent and brings a lot.
Coach, do you know how you guys are going to assign the single digits to the remaining numbers? And maybe what qualities do you look for in a player that'll be getting a single digit?
Well, I don't do it. I mean, they vote on it, right? So it's their decision. You know, at the end of the day, we want to be a tough, hardworking, competitive program. You know, the things that you can control, and so the guys that they feel like are the best representatives of that. But you know, at the end of the day, they have to make those decisions. You know, now I mean, over the years, I've never really loved when my quarterback gets that. You know, it was just I always like it when it's a physical, competitive, position. You know, unfortunately, our O lineman obviously can't get it, but you know, it's just a way to kind of say, hey, this is when we think about what we want Husker football to look like. These are great representatives of it, and so. But yeah, I don't get involved. I don't vote. I don't mess with the vote. I don't just steer the vote. I let them pick.
How's Gunnar Katula recovered from off-season surgery and put himself back? And we kind of forgot about him, I think, a little bit. How's he put himself back in the mix to play?
He looks great. I mean, saw him in the hallway. I mean, just his mass, size, strength, all of that. One of the unique things about when you get injured like that, it's such a lonely time, right? Like, you go from like being out there and playing to all of a sudden now you're walking around with your arm like this, or you tear your ACL or tear your knee. You're crutching around. Like people have to help you get your lunch. They have to carry your tray for you. People have to, help you get to class. I mean, it just becomes a really honestly like lonely time. I always feel like players when they go through that, they get to the other side of it. They're so much more mentally tough. They're actually so much sometimes more physically developed because while other guys are practicing, they're still lifting, they're still doing all these things. They're working on all these little other muscles that maybe they hadn't worked before, and they truly learn what process is. Like when you go from like, hey, I just need to squeeze a ball, and if I can squeeze the ball, like that's a good first day, or I have to do a leg raise and move my foot like 1 inch. Instead of like thinking everything happens at once, you start to learn like life's about small steps and like gradual improvement. So I've been really impressed with Gunnar's demeanor. I love the way he looks. I mean, like I said, I love the way he looks right now. Like I want to walk through the hallways and like be a little bit physically intimidated by our O-line when I see them. That's how it's supposed to look. And not their height, but their girth. Like their width this way and their width this way. And so he looks really good. And as I said, one of the great things about Gunnar is he's such a smart kid that he can play up and down the line. So I think we'll have a really good camp in terms of all of that competition.
You mentioned a couple times about players making decisions, whether it's Selleck or the single digits or whatever. That's just part of the evolution of being year 3, having a player-led program, and that's the ideal, correct?
Yeah, I mean, well, they voted on the single digits every year. So I mean, like,
I've just been in general, having players lead this team where you can kind of let them.
Yeah.
Forefront.
Yeah, so when they say player led, I think it's not like they're saying like, hey, I think we should practice today or not. Like I think it's really important to say that. It's what player led means is like, hey, we have a process that we follow. It's not the schedule. Process for us means like, hey, we're going to attack everything that we can control and hope that helps us have good outcomes. And then there's standards in the program. Like, hey, I expect you to do this. I expect you to do this. And what happens to all of us is like, we do the standard until we're tired of doing it or it's hard or something we don't think, well, why am I doing this? And what we want is we want players who enforce the standards. They're like, no, this is what we do. And in today's world, players love to lead through performance. They like to diffuse leadership, like, hey, we all kind of come together. And there's not a lot of like, hey, I'm going to come up to you and say this. And so in year 3, what you hope is that they're like, hey, I want to win. I'm tired of losing. It's not all this other stuff. It's all of us doing the right thing every day. And so it's who's going to be willing to tell someone that they care about or another great player, hey, stop doing that. That's not what we do. Let's do this. Or, hey, I need you to do this. And so when they're willing to have hard conversations with each other, when they're willing to hold each other accountable, that's player leadership. And not when things are easy, but when things are hard. I gave the example to them. I don't mind saying it to you guys. Like, it was 13-6 last year against Ohio State. We were losing at halftime, and it was like a revival in our locker room. They were so excited. They were like, freaking, Johnny just made that kick, and they're like, we're going to come back and win this game. And we almost did. And then the next week it was 13-7 against UCLA, and we run off the field. People are booing, which we get, right? And we're in the locker room, and it was like literally like, I mean, I was up there like, I was praying, not really praying, but I was like trying to like, come on, guys, and it's just sad. Like, gosh, what's happening to us? And nothing happens to you in football. Like, you take control of it and you run with it, right? So it's like, but I think looking back, they're like, well, why were they different? Well, because we're listening to everything else instead of just what's our standard. No matter what the score is, we keep playing, we find a way. And you know what's crazy about that game? It was then 20-7, and it was then 27-7, and then we came back, we had a ball with 2 minutes. Heinrich came out there, and we had a chance to go tie the game to win it. So it's like, but you have to sometimes go through those things to learn, like, just keep playing. And that's, I can say that till I'm blue in the face. Players don't listen to coaches. They listen to each other, okay? And at the end of the day, like, they listen to each other. They hear me 20 minutes a day. They hear you guys a lot on social media. They listen to fans on social media, and they hear each other. So it's like, man, you guys have got to do a great job of saying, like, hey, guys, keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. So I like where we're at in that regard. Let me say that. I like where we're at. I mean, they're doing it. Just can we do it, continue to do it at a higher and higher and higher level?
Back to the dorms for a second. Was it like a couple players specifically that were like, hey, maybe let's have this be our thing, or what did that conversation?
Yeah, they voted for a group like a for lack of a better word, leadership council type ownership group, and those guys said it. So, just that group. So there's maybe one or two guys from each position. There's maybe 10 or 12 guys, and they were. I asked them what they wanted to do, and they said, they've been very emphatic with me. Like, they have a group chat, and Corey's in the group chat, and then I put myself in the group chat over vacation. And to be honest, they were like, hey, coach, get out of the group chat. Like, go, and they were like, go on vacation. Like, to go be with your family. Like, we got this. And I was like, well, I do need to send you guys some stuff every once in a while, because I like to send, I read a lot. I'll send them something to think about. But to their point, I want that. Like, I want them. This is like the best summer I've had. Like, there's no drama, no issues, no problems. They're not calling me like so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. Like, everyone, they handled their business. So, but it's that group that said it. And, I never made the coaches over 50 stay in the dorm, and now that I'm 50, I was like, I have a little apartment downtown. So me, my son, and Wish, we're all staying there. But yeah, that was it. I can't end on a dorm question. I mean, sorry. I don't know. Anybody else? It's a great question. I just meant like end on a football high note.
Along the lines of offensive linemen and who are coming back from injury, what have you seen from Teddy, and what can you say about just his willingness to get back and his resilience?
Yeah, I mean, Teddy's one of the guys. I mean, he's in that group. I mean, they vote. I mean, he's an unbelievable representative of what it means to be a Husker. And like I said, he's had these unbelievable highs. He's had these really tough, blows along the way, right? And but he's resilient. It's never where you start; it's where you end. It's where you finish. And such a great lesson for our young players who, as like freshmen or sophomores, are like, "Oh my gosh, am I doing good? Am I doing bad?" And it's just like, "Hey, man, just keep getting better." And then when you're 22 years old, let's look up and see where you're at. Are you a pro? Or are you an all-conference player? I think the biggest thing when you see Teddy is just, I mean, he's obviously a massive man, but he was, thinner. Like, seeing how much bigger and stronger he's got, I think is a testament to him. And testament really to Drew Hamlin, but all of our people down there. And I'm excited to see him play. Like, he looks athletic. We did our testing at the end of the spring. Like, he jumped 28, 29 inches, which as an offensive lineman is outstanding. Especially for a guy his size. So I'm excited to see the competition we'll have there. At least once someone has some over here.
You talk about leadership. Dylan hosted his youth camp. All the players came out. It was a big success. The day after, early in the morning, they're there at the race in the Memorial Stadium with the kids. What does it mean to you as a coach to see these kids leading the next generation?
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job for 3 years, like, being out in the community. And I think, honestly, like, this past spring, as the guys were so focused on football, a little bit of that kind of fell off, or it kind of became like, hey, these group of guys always went. And I mean, we made a big statement to them, like, in terms of, like, I believe, like, to whom much is given, much is required, and I also believe, like, there's all these kids that, like, some of whom will never have a chance to maybe get in the stadium and see a football game, and you have a chance to go out in the community, be around them, impact them. I think our guys love those kinds of things, and at the same time, Like I watched Ja'Cory. Like, Ja'Cory, as I've told you guys before, like, Ja'Cory has, like, single-handedly changed, like, John Hull's career last year, I felt like. And that's credit to John, too, don't get me wrong. But, like, just the energy and juice he brought to the field goal periods and the encouragement he brought to John as we went through the year. Just, I mean, like, I can't even describe it to you. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Like, yelling, screaming, saying crazy things, cheering. Like, a period that most people in college football kind of sit there like this became, like, one of the more fun periods. And then, I said something in the spring, like, hey, why don't you do the same thing in the community? And we had our youth camp, and I went out and watched them as they played, like, Husker ball, and, like, Emmett Johnson and those guys were, like, competing like they were playing, right? And so I just think that when you see people who you watch on game day and they're not too cool, it's really a cool thing. I'll say this, I was proud of our guys at media days. I don't know how many of you guys saw them, but like there were other guys from other teams, like they're nice guys and they're kind of like, hey, like our guys will walk around talking to people. Like we had a plane issue going back. And so I said to the guys, I said, hey, do you guys want to get back tonight and we'll stay, or do you guys want to stay here tonight and we'll go back? And they chose to stay in Vegas for another night. What amazing guys, right? And I told them I'm the greatest head coach in the world for letting them have that decision. And they all said, well, Coach, Julie's with you. If Julie wasn't here, you would have stayed. And I said, well, if I wasn't here, she would have stayed. But that's a long story. But like they stayed, and then I said to them the next day, I said, how was it? And like they all went to dinner together. Like I thought that was really like that they're all kind of hanging out, being around each other, being out in the community, going to camp, supporting each other. If someone comes up with a T-shirt, they're all wearing it. Like I always say, like you have to wear Husker gear. But if Emmett comes out with his own shirt, I say if you give me one, it counts as Husker gear. And so I just think those things are really cool. But like again, it's the quality of people that we have, which I think better. This is to borrow from legacy, but better people make better Huskers, and so we've got great people. My daughter's at the Husker youth camp today. She'll come over to the building, and I know guys that won't just walk up and say hi to her. They'll say, "Hey, Leona, how?" They're not great young men, and so I'm proud to coach them. And when I get great questions like that before, like what makes you think? It's those types of things. It's like that level of character that allows you to develop and become better because you're grateful. So, we're proud to be Huskers, and we're proud to be part of Nebraska. We're proud to be part of the community, and they're giving back to that community. I hope so. All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, this is cool.
Really?
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Questions for Luke?
So what's it like being up there then? This is your first time?
This is cool. I don't know what to do. Do I make like an opening statement or something? I'll just take questions, I guess.
Well, just what's the sense around the offense of just the potential that all you guys have and getting out there on the practice field and realizing that over the next few weeks?
I mean, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year. We got a lot of guys that are excited, a lot of talent on this team, and it's a lot of guys who are ready to lead. The young guys, like we're ready to help the young guys, and we're gonna need everybody. So I think we're all just ready to go. And today was just like a first step. And I was sitting in the team meeting last night, goosebumps, because I was just so excited.
How would you describe that room you're in, the tight end room, and the potential you have? I know there's guys coming back from injury, Heinrich figuring out something new, but just overall, what's your thoughts?
Well, I was saying all spring that we were tight end U, and like seeing Carter and Mac finally out there, I was like, yeah, this is tight end U. Like we got guys everywhere. It's exciting.
Does your perception on the room change a little bit after today when you see him out there running around on the field a little bit?
Yeah, like I was kind of joking, like it was nice to have him back because during routes on air, I'd be gassed just having to do a route, come back, do another route. But now we got enough guys to rotate through, and now I can just kind of take a step back and help the younger guys too and coach them up a little bit more.
What's it like working with Coach Holgerson?
It's really detail focused, and working on the same play over and over again and really mastering it. And sometimes it can get boring, but he just keeps saying, do not get tired of doing the routine play. And it's just helping us master it and not going into a game week being nervous about the play call, because we're just so used to doing it over and over again that it's just engraved in our brain that we don't have to worry about it.
What did you learn about him in the 3 games last year, about the way that he likes to use the tight ends, and how do you feel now that they're, knock on wood, or 4 of you at the top at least who are healthy, what kind of confidence do you have that he's going to distribute the reps so that all of you are used?
Well, when he first came in, he didn't know my name. He would just reference me as 44. He was like, 44, get in there. And it was kind of funny. But I'm excited how he's going to use us because he hasn't had me, Heinrich, Mack, and Carter yet. And just seeing how he'll put us all in, like he's been going 12 a lot. And I'm excited how he's going to use his creative offense to throw us in there.
In the spring, Dana mentioned you as one of the better receivers, and we've probably thought of you more as a blocker earlier in your career. How eager are you to show that part of your game?
Well, EA Sports thinks I'm a blocker too. They got me as a pure blocker on there, but that's just how I had to carve a role for myself my sophomore year. We played NIU, and we had a lot of 21 personnel stuff, and I was kind of like the 21 personnel guy. And that's just when I got Coach Rhule's attention that like I could play at this level, and I just embraced that. Probably not the role that I wanted, but it's how I got on the field, so I just had to embrace it.
How have you worked, I guess, on your own to improve as a route runner, receiver, that kind of stuff?
I've been blessed. My parents live in Florida now, so I go back to Florida, and I have a trainer, Goldfeet. I work with him all the time. I brought Eric Ingerson down there with me. He's been a lot better because of that, and I just feel a lot more fluid. I've been working on balance, stuff like that, and speed. And this whole summer, I've been getting my body right. It's been great.
And Coach Rhule said that no coaches are staying in the dorms with you guys this week. Speak on the player-led element and kind of how the players want to take more ownership of the behind-the-scenes stuff going on in the fall camp.
Oh, yeah, that was our decision as players, as leaders, that we just wanted players in the dorms, and just it's really just been a player-led team like all summer, and I can feel it. Like Coach Rhule is taking a step back, and he's given us the standard. He's given us everything he's wanted out of us, and now it's up to us to let the young guys know and uphold that standard.
Did anybody sleep in this morning or have trouble getting up?
I don't know. Not in the tight end room. That's all I know. Those are my guys. I got my guys right.
How's different Heinrich going into fall camp now from maybe where he was as a tight end at the end of the spring?
He's got a lot more reps, and that's the biggest thing for tight end. Like you can't just switch from quarterback to tight end right away and expect to just use athleticism. Tight end's a way different game. But the whole spring, just being there, putting his hand in the ground, getting out receiver stands, running routes, running one-on-ones, and just keep stacking those. Eventually, he's going to get it. He's going to understand it, and you can see it already. Just him knowledge-wise. Like, he already knew the playbook, but he just saw it as just like a route, like a drawing. But now he's the one doing the drawing, so it's a lot different. And him getting reps at it, he's a lot better at it.
How different does Carter look from a year ago?
I think it's going to take time. He knows the plays now. The spring has been good for him, I think, and just getting his confidence back. I'm glad he's back. Like I told him, I hugged him. I said I was so happy for him, and it's good to have him back. He's a good friend of mine, and yeah, he looks great, and he's going to be a valuable asset to us.
Anything else for Luke?
What have you guys talked about related to 2-minute offense so far, and how you can get better at that?
So I didn't just think the details of it, because I felt like we had a lot of stuff that could be called during 2 minutes, so I guess guys weren't really as prepared, and Holgerson, getting the routine plays, has done a great job of giving us what he wants us to do, and us just focusing on that and mastering that. And we've been working on the details all summer, all spring. It's been a huge emphasis, just whether it's when to get out of bounds, when to catching it down, handing the ball to the ref, lining up, getting on the ball. Like we've emphasized those a lot.
How's your relationship grown with Coach Satterfield and just him leading your guys' room?
It's been great. Coach Sat has been awesome. He said I'm like a son to him, and he's like a little funny uncle to me. He reminds me of my Uncle Brian, who lives in Arizona. I can't wait for them to meet one day. That'd be funny. But it's been great. He trusts me. He trusts me to lead the guys, and he gave me the reins all last July to run a tight end Indy while he's been gone. And now it's nice having him back. Having him has a set of eyes to coach me up, and I'll take any coaching from him. And he's a great offensive mind that I can learn from.
Why is he so similar to your uncle?
They're just both goofy, and they bring energy, and I love it. My uncle gave me a rug burn though when I was younger though, so I kind of have a little sour taste of that, but he hasn't done that to me.
All good?
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Been a while.
Questions?
How's day one?
Man, day one was great. Just getting out there, being back out there for fall camp felt amazing. Really proud of this team, and we, just gotta keep stacking days.
And then how does this camp feel different from your previous ones, just given the circumstances that you're in within the running back room now? You're fifth.
I'll just say the leadership part of it. Other than that, it's just football, man. Just going out there being a version of myself. But other than that, just being a leader of the group now is the only thing that's really different.
developed as leaders? Is that something you feel comes naturally to you to work on that over?
Yes, sir. It came natural for me. I'll say the off-season stuff, being able to lead the group in different things, off the field, having team bonding, things like that. That's helped me grow. And now I'm able to lead those guys, man, and actually talk to them in certain ways, pushing them to be the best version of themselves.
Did you have some guys, Emmett, at running back who were older than you in this program and are now gone, or even players at other positions that you modeled that after, that you looked to gain things that you could use as a leader this offseason and into the season?
Yes, sir. I'll say Ramir Johnson. He wasn't the biggest vocal leader, but ever since I've been younger, he's kind of helped me with those little points of teaching me the running back position. So I'll say not really. He was more of a leader by example, but he was somebody who I learned a lot from as I came in as a true freshman.
Has your confidence grown as your leadership, role has grown in this program?
No, I'll say it's been the same, man. I still got confidence in myself, but I'm just glad I'm able to help the other guys and actually coach them up on little things that my coach doesn't have to coach them up as much because I'm out there helping them.
What do you think of that depth? What do you think of that depth behind you?
I'm excited for the depth behind me. I think those guys come in every single day. They work really hard, and they actually buy into what coach is trying to teach us. So I got no doubt that those guys are going to be ready behind me, and I'm going to do my job of making sure they're ready to go too.
What do you like about Isaiah joining the group, and what do you think he's just going to bring to
Yes, sir. He's another guy, from the receiver spot coming in. I'm really excited for him to be in the group. I'm going to do my job of mentoring him, but, him being able to run routes and do things out of the backfield will be big for us. So.
You obviously had momentum at the end of last year, but when you step back from the season, were there a couple areas you said, this is what I want to take a step up on?
You said for
step up. Is there certain areas you're really focused on? I want to step up in this.
Yes, sir. Really, every part of my game. But I'll just say, being explosive, scoring those longer runs, putting the offense in better position to score quicker. So for me, I'm just doing my job of reading the offense, reading my blocks, but taking that next step of just hitting those home runs and scoring those 70, 80-yard runs.
And you've been here a while now. How did the new grass play compared to what you've played on before?
Nah, it was cool. At first, when I got out there, I thought it was going to be a little tough, but then started cutting, and it felt really great out there. So props to the guys who did that. I know they don't get no love, but they did a good job at the field.
This team's ability to have tough conversations, player-wise, coaches kind of taking a back seat. How have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that start in the offseason. Like Coach said, in one of our meetings, he just said, we got to be able to hold guys accountable. Like for me, if I'm messing up, I know me and Dylan are close, but if I'm messing up, I want him to hold me accountable. Just holding everybody to the same standard. I think, those guys that don't get a chance to lead as much, when they're able to call people out, I think it just makes the team stronger as a whole. So,
How do you keep the chip on your shoulder now that you're a starter?
I always got a chip on my shoulder, man. I'm motivated, and I've been motivated since I came here. So it's really nothing different. Just staying true to what, staying true to myself, staying true to my teammates, and helping the team win most importantly. But motivation is something that's already been in my life. I've been motivated my whole life. So.
Is there something you rely upon that you think back on that kind of fuels that for you now that you're the guy?
Not necessarily. I mean, just I guess not getting my opportunity for a long time. Remembering every step of the way. That's really it. Other than that, I'm hungry, man. I just really want to help this team win.
What did you think of the work the guys put in over the summer to get their bodies right for today, and what did that process look like?
Yeah, that process was great, man. Coach Campbell did a great job of us this offseason. I would say since I've been here, this is like the most, built and strong that I've seen a team be. So props to them. But everybody bought in to the offseason, the nutrition, everything that played a part has been great.
You've had the chance this summer to talk to guys like Amir Abdullah and Amon Green. Just how does maybe that Husker lineage at your position kind of trickle down onto you, and what have you maybe taken away from some of those former players?
Yeah, I've learned a lot, man. Me and Mira got really close over the past couple months, but just to know those guys were Husker greats at the running back position, I really try to do a good job of buying in and listening to the little details. Amir, somebody who's still in the league right now, playing in year 11. So that just shows that he knows what it takes. And so every time that they give me advice, I always buy into what they say. And one of the last things he told me was he wants me to go out and beat his record. So I got to go do that in a single season.
What have been your impressions of the offensive line and how that unit can help elevate this offense?
Yeah, those guys, man, I'm really proud of the O-line. That's a group I'm extremely proud of, man. They're really buying in. Henry, Rocco, those guys have been doing a good job of bringing all those guys along. And so, whether if that's the ones, the twos, everybody's held to the same standard. They're in there working their butt off every single day. Man, they're probably the hardest working position group on the team. Like every time I come in, I always see them first in the building. They all got the same standard. They're all wearing the same things. So that just shows the leadership role of that group. And I'm really excited to run behind those guys all season.
What did your off season look like? How did you spend it? What were your areas?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of catching the ball this offseason. Just catching, 200 passes a day. Being able to catch the ball at the backfield be big. I know there's a lot of moments where the play breaks down, and I'll be able to help the team that way. So I've been taking that next step of just being a receiver too, out of the backfield or out of whatever the slot, whatever it may be.
About Dylan's offseason and the growth that you saw.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dylan's in there too with the O-lineman. He works his butt off, man. He's been doing a great job. He's became a better leader. In year two, me and him watch film and tape together, and he's way ahead of where he was last year, man. He's calling things out. He knows when to check plays. He's just more experienced this year, and I'm really excited for him.
How's your relationship grown with Coach EJ, and just since you've been in this program?
Yeah, Coach EJ, he's seen the ups and downs, man. He's been there, through everything. And so me and him now is more of before he used to coach me, extremely hard on certain things, but now I'm asking him questions about, the next step on things. So it just shows how our relationship has grown, and I'm able to help, the other running backs and be a leader now. So me and him are really close, but he's been doing a great job of getting those other guys ready to play too.
Yeah, man. Coach Rhule's talked a lot about the facilities being upgraded the past couple of years. Say it's the weight room, sauna, steam room, et cetera, et cetera. How has that helped you become a better athlete?
The facility is amazing, man. It helps me. It helps our team every day. It's crazy, from when I was a freshman till now, just seeing all the resources that we have. Mitch, guys that don't really get talked about, but the guys who help us with recovery. It's amazing, man. We don't have no excuse not to be great because we have all the resources here. So it's just up to us to use those.
Anything else for Emmett? Thanks, man. Thanks, Emmett.
So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Questions for Cam? Hey, Cam, you're part of this defensive line that's been revamped. You guys lost a bunch. What motivation you guys used to match what some of those guys did last year?
I mean, it's just got a little chip on our shoulder, you know what I mean? Just going in there and but I think we got great leadership. Coach TB coming in there. He's definitely preached a lot and taught us a lot since he's been there. And I got a lot of confidence in our group, and we're gonna go out there and perform.
Who do you feel has made the biggest jump from maybe the end of last season until through the off season until today, and that group of young linemen?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Keona's my guy. He definitely, I see a lot of potential in him, and I think he's definitely gonna do great things this season. Riley Van Pop, just stepping up into a more leadership role. Elijah Judy. We got a lot of guys deep. Dylan Parrott, coming over from the O-line. We just got a lot of guys. We're just pretty young, but I got a lot of faith in them.
Can you go into that dynamic between you and Keona and maybe what you've seen from him since the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got bigger and stronger. He's a big dude. So going out there, when I'm next to him, I look at him and I'm like, all right, he got some size, and he's a baller. He makes plays and stuff like that. So I think he's believing in himself, and he's gaining more confidence definitely going into the season.
What do you like about Coach Braden's coaching style?
Yeah, he got a lot of energy, and he's like an old school coach. He got a little old soul in him, and he just brings a lot of juice to practice and the meetings and stuff like that. And, he's a great guy. He wants to get to know you on a personal level. He's just also bringing a lot of experience from Kansas City, so it's always great. He's teaching what he taught Chris Jones, and he's bringing it to us. So,
how different does a year 3 feel with Matt Rhule now? Just the familiarity with what you're doing and just how he operates at fall camp.
Yeah, I mean, this a big thing going into this fall camp is more player led. So a lot of it is falling back on the guys and how we're going to uphold the standards.
In terms of the pass rush, how much have you guys talked about generating pressure just with that base 4-man rush, and where do you feel you're at with that?
Yeah, I mean, this spring, that's one thing we worked on a lot was pass rushing and certain packages out there to help us get to the quarterback.
So I think Coach Butler and Coach Braden they're putting together a great plan to go into this season, and we got some guys out there.
What were some of your points of emphasis in this offseason, and how do you maybe work to hold up and have a bigger load physically for this fall?
Yeah, I mean it's just big thing. Coach Braden has been working with me is like finding the pass rush move that I could perfect. So now when I go out there, like I know my move and I want to work on it. So that's one thing we've been working on a lot is just specifying a certain pass rush move that I want to work on this season.
What have you just enjoyed about learning John Butler's defense, and personally, how's it favoring you?
Yeah, I mean, like I like my role in it. I like how it's not really the biggest change from, the previous staff, and that's one thing I like. So it's like, we're kind of just building off of last year a bit.
We've heard a lot about Williams Winery too since he came in last winter. What are your observations, with him and his potential?
Yeah, no, Will's a freak. Like he runs crazy fast, jumps high. Like, he's pretty young, but he's definitely gonna like somebody we got to rely on. As a D line. So I think, but as a person, like I think he's a good guy, good fit for the room. Just a good guy, good fit for the room.
Cam, when you talk about this program now being player-led, last year obviously you were the final recipient of one of the black shirts. How have you tried to take that and grow from it and embrace your role and how it fits into this player-led team?
Yeah, I just being able to be more of a voice to the guys. Like if we look at it like you'd be like, all right, like so many people from a class, like like I'm going on my junior year, and then you always look at it and it's like, dang, like there's not many of us left in this class. So just being able to just be that voice for the guys, being able to step up, take charge, that's something I took pride in this offseason.
Beyond just the D-line room, just what was the energy out there for day one, and was it great to see a bunch of guys all back together?
Yeah, no, we were definitely flying around. Fresh legs. Coach Braden brought the juice to practice. And it's always a great feeling to be out there first day. We anticipated this all summer. Like, dang, I can't wait to get to camp. Can't wait to put the pads on and stuff like that. So, just had a lot of fun today.
Anything else for camp? Okay.
Thank you.